What's up, Wolfpack fans? I'm Hailey Parker, and I'm here for PackTV to bring you a special episode of PackTV News. Now that we are all back on campus and hopeful to have a somewhat normal semester, I thought it'd be important to give you guys all of the COVID updates with club sports. First up, I started with Coach Damaris of the men's lacrosse team. Let's tune into our Zoom call to hear what all he had to say about their season and what changes are being made. Obviously, when COVID first happened, it was in the middle of the season, or like things were going on as far as practices. So, how did the players initially react to that?
If you remember, it was right at spring break. So we had just finished our second big trip of the three of the year. So we had got about half the season out of the way, a lot of big travel. And it was kind of, we weren't sure what was going on, this and that. And it just, just doubling up spring break. And then, it was just hard.
What I was going to ask was about if y'all had heard anything as far as when you were going to play, because I know like professional sports and stuff are playing more in the spring, or like college sports are playing in the spring. So I don't know if y'all had heard anything. And based off of what you just said, will NC State even have any teams to play like in their conference?
Yeah, we'll play. The plan is to play right now. We filled up our schedules. We've got conference play. We've got AQ. Nationals are in Texas, like all the stuff. But it's all maybe. We are going to definitely have practice. So we have it slated. We're going to start the 24th. And we're going to run through the end of October. What that looks like, we have gone, coaching staff and I have gone through an entire laundry list of things we can do without breaking rules, without doing whatever, and keeping these guys engaged.
Like, what do you think is the most important thing that, if anything, is there anything that you can do as far as like implementing safety precautions at practices and games, and like what beyond that, because there's just so much going on with sports right now?
Right. I think the biggest thing for us right now is to just keep these kids safe. Everybody's learning. Everybody's trying to figure this out and say, hey, we were talking about, I was like, this is probably one of the safest things they're going to do all day. They're going to be outside and physically distant. I think it's going to be an uphill battle, but we're going to fight like we're going to. So
I also had the pleasure of talking to Tim Hailey, the new Ice Pack head coach. When talking about COVID and how it had affected his players, he said that they were all natural-born competitors, but they fully understood the seriousness of this pandemic. When it came to preparing for the season, they had practiced individually on the ice or in small groups, but there was never anything organized by the team. As far as next season, it has been pushed to the spring, so their biggest concern is getting the pandemic under control so that fans can be brought in. Tim Hailey said that their program relies heavily on ticket revenue from games. Next up, I had the pleasure of talking to Coach Ketchum of the men's club rugby team. We talked team morale, his role as a coach, and what safety precautions were going to be put in place. Let's take a look at our Zoom call. My first question was, I know that when COVID hit, it was kind of in the middle of their season, and the rugby team came back from a tournament in Maryland, I believe, and they did really well. And then COVID happened. So kind of how can you talk about like the players' reactions, how they initially felt about that?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. These guys, I've got some seniors, Mende, and some seniors, team leaders that have worked really hard to grow rugby skills. A lot of them are new to the game. Some of them have played, their whole junior life, sort of their whole teenage life. And to get to junior, senior year, and, we'd moved up to D1 AA, and we were showing we did well in 15s, made it to the sort of elite top 15 in the country in that, and then broke out in sevens, and we'd won the tournament in Maryland. So we really had some good momentum. We had some good experience behind us. Deep down, these kids are out there banging their heads against each other because they love it. So it's, when you work that hard and you feel like you're getting where you want to get, and then all of a sudden it just stops on you, it's tough. So
I know like club hockey, stuff like that, their season got pushed to the spring. So have you guys heard any updates about what the season may look like?
No, our conference is trying to pre-plan, but, it's being that we're not NCAA or school affiliated, we kind of have to juggle a couple masters, and we kind of got to see what the school's going to let us do. And then what are the other schools in our conference? What are their schools going to let them do? And then what can the conference do? And how does it work with the insurance program with USA Rugby? We've got a lot of hurdles to jump through. So we would love to. We'd play on Tuesdays every other month for the next 7 years. We'd do anything to play. It's like, just tell us the rules and let us play.
Right. I know everyone probably feels the same way. Oh my goodness.
We play midnight games on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And we'd be there to cover it. That's the thing. during a time like this, obviously for probably a lot of those players, it's important to have a coach and like someone who can, guide them, tell them what to do. So what is your role when it comes to guiding these players through a time like this and implementing safety precautions? Because, when it comes to, like you said, maybe just trying to even hang out just to run, they're all going to want to be all up on each other and stuff like that. So is there anything you can do?
Rugby's not going to happen in the short term. Let's figure out a way we can do something positive in the long term, but do it smart, do it safe, and, take care of each other in our campus community. I mean, the last thing we want to do is be a reason why the campus has to shut down again, or people have to go home or go back to all online learning. I'm going to do the best I can to promote us growing our interaction as the semester goes, but doing it safely.
I was also able to talk with Ben Strunk of NC State Wellness and Recreation. When talking club sports, he said that any university-sponsored travel was prohibited. However, if teams did practice in Carmichael Gymnasium, they were still allowed to do so, but with proper social distancing. The gym will no longer be hosting any home games, and we have seen some club sports being pushed to the spring, but with so many different sports here at NC State, there are a lot of options being thrown around. That's all I had for this episode of PackTV News. Stay safe and make sure to keep up with PackTV's socials to get all of the latest updates. I'm Hailey Parker for PackTV, bringing you Into the Pack.